Hollow Knight Silksong is home to more bosses than you can shake a needle at, and one of the toughest roadblocks comes at the end of Act 1 with the Last Judge. This literal gatekeeper is one of the few things keeping you from reaching the Citadel. Here's how to beat her, or avoid her for the time being, as well as some tips for the best equipment to bring to the fight. The first thing you'll need to know is where to find this boss. The Last Judge is located at the northeast corner of the Blasted Steps, just before the Grand Gate leading to the Citadel. Before you can face her though, you'll need to have the Cling Ring power up so you can wall jump, and you'll also need to ring 5 holy bells located throughout the early areas of Farloom, some of which you may have already rung by this point. Each of the holy bells is attached to a mechanism that can be activated with a lever. Attacking this lever will ring the bell and unlock a nearby one-way gate, creating a shortcut. When you reach the Grand Gate for the first time, standing outside the bell door will mark the remaining bells to be rung on your map. Once you've rung all 5 bells, the quest will update and you should return to the Grand Gate. While everyone will have their own preference for certain behaviors of each crest, we recommend using the Reaper crest, as its floatiness helps give you some breathing room between attacks. The Magma Bell, which can be purchased from the Deep Docks, will help reduce the damage taken from fire sources, and is helpful in the back half of the fight. Lastly, if you want to get some extra damage over time on this boss, you'll want to grab the Polyp Pouch from Greyroot and Shellwood. This handy item adds poison to your equipped tools, allowing you to get some extra hits in while you're avoiding the boss's attacks. Starting from the bench near the top of the Blasted Steps, run to the right and proceed through the next room and into the large room with the Sandstorm. Sprint jump over the first gap onto the small platform, and while maintaining your momentum, quickly jump again towards the next platform to avoid the enemy that drops from the ceiling. Jump onto the small hanging platform, then left onto the rocky wall, then right again to the next rocky surface. Get a running start and jump to the left to a low hanging rock wall, and wall jump to the top. Sprint jump to the right and use a downward strike on the hanging bell and an air dash to get to the next platform. Sprint jump again and glide to the right, going under a large rock to pogo off the rightmost bell to get yourself close enough to the rock wall. Wall jump to the top, sprint jump to the left, pogo off the bell onto the wall jump and air dash to the right, and glide to the final platform. You did it, and you didn't even have to fight anything either. Now take a breath before the real challenge begins in the next room. This fight has 3 phases, each with added moves to make your life miserable. The first phase has 3 attacks to deal with, and has fairly large windows to do some damage. The Last Judge will plant herself and spin her sensor around in a fiery ring, dash back to avoid the attack, then dash back in to land a few swipes. There is also a jump and slam attack, easily avoided by simply dashing underneath, turning around, and slashing at her. The last move in the first phase involves her winding up, then throwing her sensor far away from her in an arc, then pulling it back to try and catch you on the return. There are 2 ways to avoid this. You can either stay close under the initial throw, get some hits in, and then jump up and over, or you can dash away from the initial throw and chase the returning sensor to do some damage on her. After you do enough damage to her, the Last Judge will begin the next phase by lighting her sensor on fire. She adds 1 new attack to her moveset and adds fire to all of her previous moves. The new attack is a dash across the stage, leaving a few pillars of smoke that ignite after a short pause. Jump up and over, pogo if you can, and line up your landing between the pillars of smoke. It should be noted that this is also a great opportunity to heal, since she won't attack until the fire pillars disappear. The fiery ring attack adds smoke rings that slowly move outward from the center, which ignite just like the pillars from her dash attack. Her sensor toss move now has an explosion shortly after it impacts the ground, so watch out for the blast radius and keep your distance. The Last Judge's jump and slam attack adds fire to the ground, so after you dash underneath her, be ready to jump and pogo off of her. The final phase of the fight sees the Last Judge getting more aggressive and adds an extended fiery ring to her moveset. The bright side of this, she gets herself winded and is open to a series of attacks before continuing her onslaught. Keep avoiding her attacks, get swipes in when you can, and you'll come out on top. But be very careful after you deal the final blow, because the Last Judge will try to take you with her with a massive explosion, and if you get hit by this and it kills you, you will probably cry. The Last Judge is the last thing between you and Act 2, and defeating her opens up the Citadel and its surrounding areas, so you have plenty more to explore. Make it a priority to find a bellway so you can easily travel back to anywhere you've been before. If you're still struggling against this boss and none of these tips are helping, you can actually skip her outright by finding an alternate path to Act 2. You'll need to go from Greymoor to Sinner's Road, through the mists to reach the exhaust organ, and then you'll have to fight a different boss and enter through a completely different side of the Citadel. We have a whole guide detailing exactly how to do all of this, which you can check out in the description. And that's everything you need to know to deal with the last judge in Hollow Knight Silksong. Thanks for watching, and for everything else Silksong related, keep it here on IGN.